Hey everybody, Duncan here. Let's talk Niners. Alright, first and foremost though, please subscribe to the channel, like the videos, hit that bell for notifications, and comment in the box below. Now with that being said, let's talk Niners. I got my jersey on. I'm ready for this. I'm ready for the season. Let's do this. Okay, so everybody's out there talking about how to build the 49ers, how they would spend the money, how much money. Everybody's talking about the best way to build this team. Well, I'm basing it on 58 million, which is less than what we actually have, and should allow us to save money and spend on the draft as well. This is one of the reasons why I said 58 million as a low ball. So, at the very least, this is the team that I've created. Now, we all know we got Jimmy G. Heck of a quarterback. We all know what he's capable of, his quick release, and so on. But now it's time to protect that investment. I've gone back and forth. I thought about drafting and, spending a bunch of money. But here's the thing. I want a solid offensive line with veterans to protect my investment in Garoppolo. So here's what I'm saying. I want to sign both John Sullivan, he's a guard and a center from the Rams, and I want to sign Justin Pugh, who's a guard or a tackle from the Giants. I believe you can get both for about $9 million, $8.5 to $9 million apiece. Pugh's coming off injury. His stock's going to be a little lower, but regardless if he plays right guard or right tackle, instantly that position is upgraded. Sullivan is solid left guard. He's also a solid center. So we have Kilgore's backup, and we have reinforcements on the left line. Now, with that being said, I don't see us needing to draft an offensive lineman right out of the gate. We can wait until later down in the draft and try to pick up somebody serviceable to fill in the gaps. Now, my roster, or my offensive line, has Staley, Sullivan, Kilgore. It has Pugh and Trent Brown as my starters. But then you got Gillian in there. You got Zuda, Beatles, Garnett, and so on. That offensive line is stacked. You got a couple of veterans that can teach the youngsters a few things, and you've spent maybe 18 million tops. You give them 2-3 year contracts. Now your offensive line is one of the better O-lines in football for at least the next 2 or 3 years. With that being said, you got a good quarterback who's protected. Now you want to go out, and the next thing I want to do is I want to bring in weapons. So what I do is, once again, I go after my rival's best weapon. I go after Sammy Watkins from the Rams. I want to take him off their books. He's an amazing deep threat. You think Goodwin's a deep threat? Goodwin can run routes. And honestly, Watkins can blow the top off of defenses. 49ers could have 2-3 guys that could literally blow the top off of a defense. You sign Watkins and he stays healthy, and the 49ers easily have one of the best receiving corps with Garcon, Watkins, Goodwin, and Trent Taylor, amongst others. That receiving corps is pretty good. Jimmy Garoppolo throwing to them, that's a pretty solid receiving corps. Then, of course, I'm going to draft Royce Freeman the running back out of Oregon, with my second pick. I believe it's the Saints pick in the second round. Royce Freeman is a guy that can blow through tackles. He can go around them. He's got pretty good speed. He can catch out of the flat. Coming from the Oregon offense, he's a guy that can, he could be your workhorse. He's accustomed to splitting time, which helps when you got Breida and Williams in there. So this is a guy that's, he's accustomed to being a running back by committee. And he's also he also has more rushing yards in Oregon history than guys like LeGarrette Blount, LaMichael James, and so on. So Royce Freeman is my second pick in the draft. And I believe Freeman, Breida, and Joe Williams with Juszczyk can be one of the best, most dynamic young running back cores in all of football. I think Shanahan then has his offense stacked. And when you got guys like that on the offense, maybe draft a tight end later down the road, which I will get to at the end of this video, suddenly this offense is one of the best offenses, at least in the NFC, or at least in our division. Now, on top of that, we've hurt our biggest rival's offense by taking Sullivan and taking Sammy Watkins from the Rams. Their team will struggle. Our team will get better. With Seattle going downhill, with Arizona being stagnant, the 49ers could easily become the best team in the division, and that's spending half their money on offense. So with that being said, let's go to defense. I think the third step is our secondary. We need corners. Now, I want to go and get Trumaine Johnson. Everybody's saying he's overexpensive, yada, yada, yada. But again, he's coming from the Rams. He's going to be upset that the Rams basically let him walk, which means he's going to want to prove to the Rams every time they play him. That's twice a year for us, not counting playoffs. Here's a guy who can shut down most wide receivers. He's big, he's strong, he fits our defense like a T, and he's an all-pro consistently. There's no doubt in my mind that I'm willing to spend $16.5, $17 million to pull Trumaine Johnson out of the Rams. And once again, we're hurting them even more. Okay, now, with that said, I also want to spend my 9th overall draft pick, and I want to pick up Joshua Jackson from Iowa. This dude is a shutdown corner. This dude he's amazing to watch. And when you're talking about Joshua Jackson, Trumaine Johnson, and Witherspoon as your 1, 2, 3, add in K'Wan Williams, add in all the other guys, and suddenly that cornerback position looks pretty stacked. Now, with that being said, we could go to the draft and we could just fill out the rest of our team with the draft. And here's what my draft looks like. Okay, let me grab my draft. So, here's what I got going on. As I stated before, my first pick is the cornerback Joshua Jackson from Iowa. Okay, he's a shutdown corner, good speed, great hands, good intangibles, just a brilliant playmaker. Brilliant. My second pick is running back Royce Freeman out of Oregon. I already stated he fits our T. He fits Kyle Shanahan's offense to a T. He is pretty much everything we want out of that running back position. And he could be a stud for us. Now, with my third pick, I spent on a guard/center. I know, offensive line, because that's what I want to build. Frank Ragnow from Arkansas. This is a guy that he didn't allow a stack all year. Here's a guy that, I mean, he was hurt, which is going to lower his stock a little bit, but without the injury, he's probably in the first round. He literally, he doesn't give up sacks, and he's pretty good against the run, or he's pretty good blocking in the run packages. So if we need a straight up pass blocker or depth, you can't go wrong picking up a solid guard or center who can play both positions, like a Frank Ragnow, and that's why he's my third pick in the draft. Now, with my fourth pick, I want to go and I want to get the linebacker from Auburn, Jeff Holland. This guy, he's a sleeper. Great speed, great athleticism. He's a primary pass rusher off the edge, which is exactly what we're going to want. He can play 3-4 off the edge. In a 4-3 system, he's going to be a situational pass rusher, which is exactly what we want. I feel like this guy in this position could be really good for us and could add serious depth to our defense. Okay, now with my fifth pick, I'm going to go tight end, and I'm going Dalton Schultz from Stanford. This is a guy that he's a really good blocker, but he knows how to score touchdowns. He knows how to catch passes, especially when it matters. He's a California boy. He loves California. Stanford is right down the road. He's an ex-teammate of Solomon Thomas's, and he could fit on our team just perfectly and be a good fan favorite. Now you put Schultz in with Kittles and Selleck, and suddenly the Niners have a really good tight end core. Now, with sixth pick, I got a quarterback because I like to get a quarterback every year. Okay, and there's nothing against Brethard or even Jimmy, but it's always good to have a practice squad quarterback. And I went with Nick Shinnok from Texas Tech. He's big, he's strong, he's accurate. He came in, he filled in for Mahomes' place, and he did a really good job. Completed like 65% of his passes. I mean, he did really well. And I feel like Shanahan could see him as a solid third string or practice squad quarterback that he can pick up day 3 of the draft. Then from there, I'm going to go with my 7th pick, and I'm picking up a defensive end, Javon Roland Jones from Arkansas State. And this is a guy that can play both defensive end and linebacker. He can bring pressure. He can stuff the run. He's going to be a later pick because coming off an injury, but he put up really good numbers before that injury. He could make the squad. He's a guy that could possibly be pretty decent in our defense. He's athletic. He knows how to play. He knows how to play the ball. He could be pretty decent at both either defensive end or a linebacker position. Now, for my 8th pick, I went for a wide receiver, Byron Pringle. I think it is Pringle from Kansas State. He's 6 foot, 205. He's not real fast. He's got good hands, good route running, but he has a knack for finding the end zone. Okay, he scores touchdowns. Another guy that has really good numbers but just got injured, had his numbers took a hit. But here's a guy, when it's on the line, you want to throw a pass up there, he can catch this ball. He's going to score that touchdown. And that's basically what we need, is guys that can find the end zone, which makes him a great pick in the 6th or 7th round. Now, my final pick, I'm going for linebacker Miles Pierce from the Citadel. Now, this guy, coming from a smaller college, many people are probably not even going to know who he is. He put up really good numbers, and he showed to be very athletic. Now, whether or not he transitions to the NFL, he'll be a bit of a project, given that he went to a smaller school, but he put up really good numbers at that school. So, if our defensive coordinator, Slay, can get in there, can teach him the linebacker position. It's pretty solid pick. Now, I would also, talking on a coaching note, I would like to see us pick up a Gus Bradley to our defense, like a defensive quality control. I'd like to see Tom Rathman come in, because see, Bradley knows that defense. He knows Salehi. He knows what we're trying to do, and he can really be a decent quality control coach in that aspect. You bring in Bill Romanowski as the linebacker coach. Here's a guy who's been wanting to be a coach for a while now. He knows this defense from playing it in San Francisco under Bill Walsh. He's friends and teammates with Lynch, our GM. So he understands what Lynch might want to do in certain positions, maybe even play a little Tampa too. So, he can get that. Besides that, he's also one of the most athletic linebackers to play the position. He's violent, he's mean, he can bring attitude to our linebacking core. Just as a coach. And then the final coach I want to bring in is Justin Smith. I want to bring him in as a DL coach, defensive lines coach. He's a fan favorite. We love him. He's a Hall of Famer for us. And he's currently doing that same job at the college level. And he's doing it fairly decently. I feel like he could be a key factor to our defense. So I'd love to know what you guys think. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Go Niners. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the videos. Comment in the box below. And peace. Duncan out.